This 26 Sports and CCTV high school football presentation is brought to you by Wolverine Power Cooperative and Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you. And by Munson Healthcare Cadillac Rehab Services.
Welcome to Veterans Memorial Stadium on Salute to Service night for the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week here on 26 Sports and CCTV between the Petoskey Northmen and the Cadillac Vikings. I'm Derek Tate alongside Dan Gussert. We get our first look at Big North League action here at Cadillac High School as we have a meeting of a team. The Petoskey Northmen enter Cadillac Vikings Stadium here 0-2. Taking on the Cadillac Vikings, who are 1-1 on the season. What do you look for in this big League North matchup here, Dan?
Well,
to start
first
things
off,
off?
0-2 for Petoskey is a little misleading. They've had some very tough competition so far this year with Mount Pleasant and up in the UP Escanaba. Derek, with the winds and the rains we had last night, the field looks like it's in great shape. It's been drying out all day. And the winds are dying down.
And thankfully, the winds are starting to die down here a little bit as some of the Cadillac Viking starters are being announced. Number 79, Carson Razio, the starting center for the Vikings. Number 64, Blake Swiger, also along that offensive unit up front. Number 76, the big guard, Ryan Wood, helps clearing some of the path alongside Sam Mallory, one of the sons of head coach Cody Mallory. Bryce Benjelink has been having a great start to the season over at left tackle for the Cadillac Vikings. And number 12, Carter Harsh. He's gotten his hands on the football on a couple different punt return opportunities as well as the tailback position on some sweeps. Colin Johnson, the starting linebacker and also along one of the tailbacks for the Vikings offense. He has 2 defensive touchdowns early on in this season. And the main man carrying the rock, the fullback, Noah Cochran for the Cadillac Vikings. Alex Barcheski, the safety, but also handling the tight end duties for the Cadillac Vikings, the senior. And then bringing out, starting number 6, Logan Wild, the wide receiver out wide. And then the starting quarterback, Julian Lamont, number 9, the senior. And here come the Cadillac Vikings.
And Tip Baker not under center again this week, as was the case last week for the Vikings with that injury to his shoulder.
I mean, it was an absolutely gutty performance from Tip Baker last week on the defensive side of the football. Even got some carries towards the end of the game on the offensive side as a fullback, as we're going to go ahead and throw it over to the public address announcer as we have on the field the freshman team for the Cadillac Vikings with the flag, and then on the bottom of your screen you do see some of the active and retired members of
Color Guard.
Color Guard, that is correct. And we'll go ahead and send it over to the public address announcer for the national anthem.
We offer our gratitude to each and every individual who has responded to this call for duty, whether it be in the past, the present, or in the future. You are all an outstanding example of the one difference a person can make in this world. Your dedication to the defense of those less fortunate and the preservation of peace make you a shining star to all. We as citizens of this great nation are proud to salute you and honor you as our hometown heroes. At this time, please allow us to give you the recognition that you truly deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, the privilege of this game was made possible by those who have fought and continue to fight for the freedoms that we enjoy. Let us now honor and respect their efforts and our country. Civilian gentlemen, please remove your hats. Active and retired military, we encourage you to render the appropriate salute. And everyone able, please stand at attention, placing your hand over your heart, as the Cadillac Marching Band, under the direction of Mr. Mike Filkins, performs our national anthem.
Beautiful rendition of the national anthem here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Again, salute to service, and thank you so much for all of the veterans who have provided their service, both men and women of the armed services. So here we are. Big League North action kicks off as we're going to get a look at the bottom of your screen as some of the veterans, active and retired, getting to shake the hands of both teams, the Petoskey Northmen and the Cadillac Vikings. Got to love the salute to service here.
You know, Cadillac's been doing salute to service for football, basketball, hockey for several years now, and they really do it up right. The school system, community, they just do a nice job. So it's wonderful that both teams are able to participate and join in this salute.
An absolute show of respect here, and well-warranted and well-deserved. Veterans Memorial Stadium, probably imagine there is a reason why it is named Veterans Memorial Stadium here at Cadillac High School, as you are getting a look at the Petoskey Northmen down on the home side, getting to shake the hands of some of the current active and retired members of the armed services. So as we take a look at these two teams, though, I mean, like you mentioned before, tough slate here for new head coach Gavin Freilich, taking over for the 16-year tenure for head coach Kerry Van Orman, who recently stepped down. So now it's Coach Freilich, who started off 0-2, but they faced off against a team that they lost to in the Michigan State playoffs last year in Mount Pleasant, 35-14, and then, of course, you mentioned already, they scored 30 points last week in a losing effort against Escanaba.
Yep. You know, they're tough. They are known for solid football and have been for years. They got a tight end that's something special out there.
The young man, Nate Everly Rodriguez.
Yes, I think we'll see some of his, not just his height, he's extremely athletic. The line up front is solid. And like always, they are a well-coached Big North team, as all are. And for Cadillac, same thing. You know, we've been watching this group of young men, Barczewski in particular, as a senior, Tip Baker as a senior. They've played a lot of a lot of football here.
Right.
Basketball also. You know, they've been up here for a long time.
So we've seen the Cadillac Vikings, though, in particular last week. Like you mentioned, it's a well-coached program, though, there over on the visiting side for the Petoskey Northmen. But head coach Mallory, I know that last week they fell by 1 point, 20-19 against the John Glenn Bobcats. But really, you look at how well this defense has played through the first 2 weeks. They scored a defensive touchdown in the first half. I mean, really, they dominated the first half outside of a 99-yard touchdown reception from Rory O'Hare of the John Glenn Bobcats. But the only problem that the Vikings defenses seem to have so far in this early in the 2019 season is giving up pass yards in big chunk plays, as they did it against Lake Fenton in the second half, and then it came back to bite them and ultimately cost them the game against the John Glenn Bobcats.
You know, and Todd Baker, the defensive coach for the Vikings, I'm sure that's something he's been working on all week long with his defensive backfield. Just kind of getting into position, making sure you keep the player in front of you. If you have to, don't give up the big play. You know your assignments. Basic fundamentals. Certainly, tackling is very important, and I think we'll have to wait and see how they do with that tonight.
And tackling, speaking of tackling, on the other side, just starting at linebacker, the senior, and we already mentioned him when we were announcing the starters, Tip Baker, who was handling the quarterback duties to start the year, playing through a major shoulder injury. He is unable to go under center for the Vikings, but still his impact on the defensive end. I mean, one particular play last week, he's not only stood the tail back up, ripped the ball out, and then recovered the fumble himself. So I'm interested to see what Tip Baker can do, still playing with an injury heading into week 3.
Tip certainly is one tough young man, and highly intelligent too. He just seems to have that ability to see the play before it's developing right in front of him. He's in the right place, and like you said, not only can he make the tackle, but he's not just looking to make the tackle, he's looking to make the strip of the ball.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's also the point guard for the basketball team here for the Cadillac Vikings. The speed of the game doesn't seem to bother him. Everything is slow for him, and he's all over the place on the defensive side of the football. As it is going to be the Cadillac Vikings who start with the football, kicking off for the Northmen. That's going to be number 48. That's A.J. Bovin.
And back for the Vikings, number 7 is Aiden Gurdon. And this is going to go to him. Nope, neither of them get it. A little miscommunication to start. Live ball.
Gurdon able to pick it up at the 8-yard line, and the Northmen swarm him. Only a return of 5 yards, and actually that could have been a bigger disaster if Gurdon wasn't able to collect that at the 8-yard line.
He and Carter Harsh didn't communicate back there. That can't happen. That's not the way you want to start the game, but it has happened. So now we'll see what the Vikings offense can do. Maybe they get a nice long grind out kind of drive going here early in this game.
In the Cadillac Vikings, one thing you know you are going to see is the triple option. And we saw a heavy dose of that the first 2 weeks against the Lake Fenton Blue Devils and the John Glenn Bobcats. So it's going to be Julian Lamond under center for the Vikings. They have a 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line to start off their first possession. And Lamond actually drew 2 encroachment calls with the hard count last week on the very first drive for the Vikings. 1st and 10. And here's a throw. That one in and out of the hands of Alec Barczewski. And falling on it is Tim Crittenden. If just in case that one went behind the line of scrimmage or a lateral, unfortunately it's an incomplete pass. So the Vikings trying to get the ball in the hands of their tight end to start the game.
That's a good matchup right there for the Vikings. Crittenden only 146 pounds. He is 6'1". Barczewski, solid player. Very tough. Able to probably break a tackle out there if they can get it to him in that.
2nd and 10 for the Vikings. Cochran gets the ball. Fighting for yardage up the middle. He's brought down at the 19-yard line. That's number 68. Coons Gasco on the stop for the Petoskey Northmen. 6-yard gain. First 3rd down here for the Vikings offense.
Yeah, I think Trevor Schumann on that tackle also for Petoskey.
A stout unit up front.
That's a nice gain on 2nd down for the Vikings. Looks like they got about 6 on that.
3rd and 4 for Cadillac. Option to the left side. Lamond on the keeper. He's going to fall forward, and he's going to get to the 25-yard line, and that'll move the sticks for Cadillac on a gain of 6.
Nice job by the Vikings. They set themselves off in a hole to start the game with that miscommunication. And then nothing going on 1st down, and 2 nice solid runs, picks up a 1st down.
One of the most consistent plays that you've seen when probably getting a scouting report on this Vikings offense is they love to run behind big old number 76, Ryan Wood on the left side. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Cochran up the middle for the Vikings, stacked up after a couple of yards by the Northmen defense.
Yeah, that would be number 70 on that tackle in there, which is Schumann again.
Schumann busy up front there for the Petoskey Northmen.
Blake Schumann is 236. He's pretty solid up there, along with 68 playing on that side, which is Trevor Schumann.
2nd and 8 for the Vikings. Give goes to Cochran. Cochran powering his way through one tackler near midfield into Northman territory. Noah Cochran. He has been the standout player on the offensive side of the football, as that's a big 1st down for the Cadillac Vikings.
Yeah, Chittenden with the touchdown-saving tackle there did a nice job of outfoxing Logan Wild, the Vikings receiver, trying to make that block downfield.
And you see them going right behind Razio, Wood, Benjelink on that left side. And now they enter Tip Baker at the fullback spot. 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Baker on the carry, powering his way down to the 40-yard line. A solid gain of 7 on 1st down for the Vikings.
That's Crittenden with the 2nd consecutive tackle, and if you're Petoskey, you don't want to see Crittenden making a whole lot of tackles. That means your linemen and linebackers are having some troubles.
Yeah, into the secondary have gone the fullbacks for the Vikings on consecutive plays. And this is a 2nd and manageable, and that's exactly what you want if you're head coach Cody Mallory. At the 40-yard line, 2nd and 3 for Cadillac. And that is a quarterback keeper by Julian Lamond, and he is swallowed up by a parade of Northmen defenders. Leading the charge appears to be number 85. That's Wyatt Wargel.
I think that we might have a measurement, or are they going to give him the first down? It looks like he had enough on that.
And he does get
Yep, and
forward progress, and that's going to move the sticks. What we saw last week against John Glenn Bobcats is we saw a heavy dose of Cochran. Clearly they're trying to get Lamont. He's reading that defensive end perfectly to start this game. 1st and 10 for Cadillac. Cochran on the carry. Nothing doing. Stacked up by number 85, Wyatt Wargel, yet again. Busy up front there on consecutive plays. Gain of 1.
Well, we'll see what the Vikings do now as they have run up middle here. 2 to 3 state plays here, Derek.
We did not see the Vikings offense attempt a pass last week in the first half. We saw them start on the very first play of the game. They tried to hit a quick hitter to Alex Barczewski that went right through his hands. Here's 2nd and 9 for Cadillac. And you see head coach Mallory trying to get that defense a little overeager. And now they reset. Lamond, here's a counter give to Colin Johnston.
We got a flag on this play too.
And it did not fool the Petoskey defense, but also a flag. So this may push the Vikings offensive unit back. We'll have to wait for the call. But well played there by the Northmen defense.
Yeah, I know. I was very impressed with how in that active or action motion that it is a hold against the Vikings that Cadillac used just before the snap of the ball to try to get them to draw offsides. Well coached, well scouted. They knew what they were looking for early on in the game.
It was number 68, Trevor Schumann, who read that one like a book. A lot of motion in the backfield, but number 68 stayed home for the Northmen. The 10-yard penalty, that's going to make it 2nd and 19. Just shy of the 45-yard line for Cadillac. Bobbled snap, and luckily Lamond able to corral it in. 65. That's Gus Baldwin on the stop for the Northmen. It's going to be 3rd and long.
Well, we want to let everybody know tonight a little bit of our camera crew out there. We've got Dylan McCall on camera 3 and Alden McCoy tonight working camera 2. And Damian Brooks out there with camera 1. They're all happy that the rain stopped early today. Hannah Crouch and Morris Langworthy are directing the show here tonight. And our replay graphics work is done by Abby Merritt.
3rd and 14. Here's the option. Lamond cuts it upfield, but he's swallowed up by number 86. That's the big old tight end, also playing both ways. Nate Eberly Rodriguez on the stop. That's a gain of 10, but it's going to be 4th and short here. I expect Coach Mallory to go for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's not like the Army-Michigan game where you see Army going for it every time on 4th down. But certainly at this point of the field, we'd expect the Vikings to go for it.
What do you expect Coach Mallory to dial up here on 4th and short?
I think you keep the ball in Lamond's hands, or with Baker that's just come in right now.
Here's 4th and 3 from the 30-yard line. A little bit of movement, but that Schumann, he didn't jump across for a neutral zone infraction. Now they reset. 4th and 3 for Cadillac. Lamond gives to Baker.
Oh, he's got it. How about that running?
Look at Tip Baker. There wasn't a hole there, but he created one on his own, dragging Northmen defenders past the sticks, and that'll give the Cadillac Vikings a 1st down.
That's, I believe, just the 2nd time we've seen Tip in tonight. They're going to use him sparingly with that shoulder injury. Certainly that's the time, though. Big play, 4th down, and a couple of yards, and the Vikings pick it up.
You see maybe Coach Mallory kind of tipping his hand, wants to save Baker for 3rd or 4th and short scenarios. 1st and 10, fresh set of downs here for Cadillac. Option left, and that's Cochran that gets the call to the left side. He's dragged down just shy of the 20-yard line. I can't see exactly who got the stop. Coming at the bottom of the pile.
85 down in there, which is Wyatt Wargel, as the Vikings have now eaten up 6 minutes of this clock on the opening drive.
And you got to love that if you're head coach Mallory, methodically moving the ball down the field. They really haven't gotten behind the chains very often, only on that holding penalty. And luckily, Julian Lamond got it right back, ripping off a long run to the right side. 2nd and 5 for the Vikings. Lamond Cochran on the call. Inside the 20-yard line, he's going to be brought down just shy of the sticks. It looked like number 67 on the stop, McCoons Gasco. And you got to wonder if this Northman front on the defensive side is starting to breathe a little bit of heavy on this opening drive.
Certainly, if they're not now, this continues. The fourth quarter is going to be tough on that defense.
1 pass play, 9 running plays for the Vikings. 3rd and 1. Cochran up the middle, and he's got the first down just inside the 15-yard line. 85 on the stop. Wyatt Wargle, that's his 4th tackle of this opening drive. He finally gets a breather, and they bring in A.J. Goodwin to rotate some fresh bodies along that defensive line for the Northmen.
How about that job by the Viking offensive line? They have pretty much controlled the line of scrimmage from the start of this game, and they are moving people off the line.
Carson Razio, the center, able to give Cochran enough room to operate. 1st and 10. Here's a pass play.
Oh, he's
Lamont
open.
lets it rip down into the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Colin Johnston. That is a 15-yard touchdown receptions, and the Vikings strike first.
Yeah, at 4:53 to first quarter. TD Vikings. Colin Johnston on that catch. What about that call?
Oh, a little play action. Lamont drops back and drops a dime to the back of the end zone, wide open. Colin Johnston, great play call there. Dialing it up is head coach Cody Mallory. And that's going to bring on Libby Lloyd. Last week, Lloyd went 1 of 3 on the extra points. 1 doinked off the post. The other one, a snap that wasn't handled. This one up and splits the uprights as the Cadillac Vikings opening drive just over the 7-minute mark. And they're on top 7-0 as we get a quick look at our sponsors for this week's game.
Alrighty, let me find that for you. There we go. Our sponsors this year, our presenting sponsor, Munson Healthcare, Cadillac Hospitals, Wolverine Power Cooperative, and Great Lakes Energy. Also sponsoring tonight, Fox Motors of Cadillac, your local Ford and Toyota dealerships, LC Materials, the concrete experts, Doug Glass of Cadillac for all your home and auto glass needs, Builder's First Source in Cadillac, your first source for flooring. Stop by and see them today. Cadillac Tire, your hometown tire dealer, and Pizza Plus, Cadillac's local source for pizza and sandwiches for over 50 years.
Personally, they've had Pizza Plus here the past couple weeks, and it's my favorite pizza place in all of Cadillac. I just moved here from Chicago, so I like to think that I have a decent opinion on pizza.
You know, and Pizza Plus has been sponsoring for a long time, and certainly we want to send our sympathy to
Absolutely.
them as Mr. Kennard has passed away recently. We wish them and their family
Yeah, unfortunately, we do send our condolences.
Yes.
As number 2, that is Jaron Kelly trying to navigate his way through the traffic. As good coverage there from the Vikings kickoff unit. And it's going to be the first appearance for the Petoskey Northmen offense, led by number 18, Gabe Whitmore, the senior quarterback. We saw Whitmore throw a 60-yard touchdown to his tight end, the senior Nate Eberly Rodriguez, against Escanaba.
And the Vikings here need to defensively step it up. They don't want to give up a big play after that offensive showcase.
Here's Whitmore on 1st and 10. It's going to be a quarterback sweep, cutting it upfield. And look at that Vikings defense swarm. Leading the way is number 48, Tit Baker, also on the stop. Number 64, Blake Swiger. And we've seen this Vikings unit strong to start games in the first 2 contests to start the 2019 season.
You know, when you get all the momentum that the Vikings created by that long opening drive, you don't want to give it up on one big play. Keep Petoskey down here, make them earn everything they get.
And that was a tough 2 yards by Whitmore. Brings up 2nd and 8 for the Northmen.
They went trips this way.
That pass
Wide
complete.
receiver screen.
Grant Caplato.
Ooh,
And look at
Mackel.
Ted Baker. Sent him over into the sideline of the Vikings. But Clapadlo on the reception, and he's going to be just shy of the first down marker.
Yeah, Grant, 5'5", 137. Tip put a good hurt on him as that brings up 3rd and 1. 3rd and maybe a foot.
We're going to see if head coach Freilich tries to get it on the ground or go through the air. And they actually are going to go ahead and move the sticks.
They gave him the first.
So gain of 8, just enough for a fresh set of downs for Petoskey. That give goes to number 34, Ian Peel. And he is chopped down right around the 45-yard line. Alex Barczewski on the stop.
Peel comes up limping just a little bit there. I think he's going to be all right as he heads back to the huddle. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
And it looks like this Petoskey offense starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm.
Yeah, we saw them go trips to the bottom of the screen or our side here 2 plays ago, and then back to their traditional ground game offense setup here.
Out of the shotgun on 2nd and 3, give is to Brody Woods, and he stiff arms the defender, and he's into Vikings territory. The ball is knocked loose, but trickles out of bounds. Logan Wild coming up from the defensive back spot and puts a good hit on Woods, but that's good enough, and luckily for the Northmen, that garners a first down instead of a turnover.
Yeah, Logan Wild, nice tackle there, knocked that ball loose on the tackle, but rolls into the sideline by the Petoskey bench.
Here we are just under the 3-minute mark.
This is going to be a fast-moving game.
Yeah, we see a lot of first downs, no change of possession outside of the 1 touchdown. The pass from Julian Lamont to Colin Johnston. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line for Petoskey.
Petoskey with the trips look to the far side this time and a fumble on a pitch.
And that pitch mishandled by Brody Woods. He is fortunate on back-to-back plays. He's been unable to keep possession of the football without it hitting the turf.
Yeah, and he's coming off the field right now. He had his head up down the field, wasn't looking that ball into his hands.
Head coach Freilich was preaching prior to the game, got to take care of the football. And he can't be happy to see the ball hit the turf on consecutive plays. This one is a 7-yard loss, bringing up 2nd and 17 for the Northmen. Whitmore working out of the shotgun. New tailback to his left. He's rolling right. He's got a man. He's got his big tight end, and that's Everly Rodriguez. And they finally drag the big man down is Alex Barczewski, but that's a gain of 28 and a first down for Petoskey.
Nice play right there. Slipped out behind everybody, and that's that defensive assignment that we were talking about in the pregame that Coach Baker was hoping that the defensive backfield linebackers would get that figured out a little bit better.
And it's going to bring up a first down just shy of the 15-yard line for the Northmen. Whitmore out of the shotgun. There's a give to number 26. That's a little counter tray.
Yeah, Barczewski and Baker on that tackle right there.
Eero Gross, the ball carrier. And a solid gain. The Northmen really chunking the Vikings defense on their first drive of the game. We're just under the 2-minute mark. And it's the Northmen driving deep into Vikings territory. They have a 2nd and 3 up and coming. That's Riley Least, the tailback to the left, and he gets the call, and this time the Cadillac defense is all over that one. Trenton Dennis drops him for a loss. Great penetration there from Cadillac. That 1-yard loss is going to bring up the first 3rd down attempt for Petoskey on this opening drive. They dropped 30 points on Escanaba last week.
We are down to just about a minute to go here at the end of the first quarter from Veterans Memorial Stadium. Hope you're enjoying our broadcast here on 26 Sports and CCTV.
And here is Whitmore, and he gives to Brody Woods. Woods trying to hop over a defender, and he's going to pick up the first down. Nifty bit of running there through the Cadillac Vikings defense, and we're going to have a golden go to situation with 51 seconds as Petoskey tries to tie this one up.
So both defenses probably feeling a little bit tired after the 2 drives we've seen here today.
Seen a lot of good offense, defenses trying to catch up and adjust on the fly as both offenses have gotten into a rhythm on their opening drive. And it's Brody Woods in the backfield alongside Gabe Whitmore. Whitmore working out of the shotgun, 1st and goal from the 5. Whitmore.
He's going to keep this one himself.
Quarterback sweep right. cuts it upfield. He's going to gain a couple, but the Vikings defense stiffens up.
That may be the last play of the quarter here.
As that in all likelihood is Whitmore is going to the sideline, and Coach Freilich is going to go ahead and take a 7-point deficit to the second quarter here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. It's the Cadillac Vikings on top of the Petoskey Northmen, 7-0, as you are watching the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week here on 26 Sports and CCTV. We'll be right back with second quarter action.